Okay, hello. My name's Nathan and I'm from Rant and tonight I've been tasked with trying to come up with a top 10 list for the video games that came out in 2015 because that's what we do, we talk about games at Rant So, I tried to put together a list and it was hard for reasons that were kind of unexpected. I feel like 2015 was a really strong year for games. Like there was just tons of really high quality things, heaps and heaps of stuff that I really enjoyed. But I kind of, I was thinking about it. I was like, in a year where Fallout 4, Just Cause 3, and what else? The Witcher 3 came out. And I was looking at my list and I'm like, none of those games are on here. And it's like, so that's surprising to me in a lot of ways. Like, I feel like this year I've changed my playing habits a lot. It's reflected in this list, I think. And actually, I decided I wanted to, try and stick to the top 10 format. But it was harder than I thought. And I kind of I landed on a solid 5 that I feel like are games that really kind of got to me this year, rather than being games that, it was just sort of like 10 that are really, really good. I'm doing top 5. I'm going to do also honourable mentions, which is a cop-out in a lot of ways, but whatever. It's my list, I'll do what I fucking like. So I'll start with my honourable mentions. So obviously those ones I mentioned before aren't going to be in here. So these are going to be games that I thought, personally actually sort of got to me. So to start with, I've got here Puzzle and Dragons. And Puzzle and Dragons is not a new game. It's been out on the mobile systems for quite a while, and it's one of those massive mega phenomenons, but not here. The first time I ever played it was the Super Mario version that was that came out on the 3DS, and I played it and really dug it, and ended up buying the full version of it. And the Mario version I just didn't like. Like I tried and tried, and it just didn't stick with me at all. So I actually ended up going and playing Puzzle and Dragons Z, which is a really shitty kind of Pokemon knockoff version. The puzzling is so tight in that game. I really enjoyed that, and I probably played it for like maybe 30 or more hours, maybe. The other version I just never got to, but the reason it's not in my top 10, like as in proper, or my top 5 or whatever, is because I feel like the start of it was great, and that the part where I played it, I enjoyed it, but it just kind of petered out and sucked in the end. Like it's really repetitive, and the game might be too long, the game part of it, and it doesn't add enough sort of new stuff as you're going along. So I don't know, I just sort of got to the stage where I was like, it's a really cool game, I really enjoyed my time with it, but I can't say, this is like one of the best 10 games of the year. I enjoyed what I did, so that's why it's an honourable mention and not like a place proper. Another one in a really similar vein to that is actually another, it's like a portable game, and it's Monster Strike. And Monster Strike kind of was a weird one for me. Sometimes I just kind of get way into something and I can't explain why. I just sort of like follow the whim, and wherever it lands I end up sort of like, just enjoying something. And Monster Strike really grabbed me this year. I ended up getting like a bootleg copy and like side loading it onto my phone and playing it, and that was the overseas version. And that was cool and really complicated, and I enjoyed what I played. Then the Australian version of it came out. Now the Australian version is a really weird version. It's actually it was really weird. They stripped all this stuff out of it. It was really easy. All the hardcore mechanics of like grindy free-to-play. This is a free-to-play game on a phone too, by the way. All that really super grindy shit that they made you do in the other versions was gone. And it only cost you time. And that's the other reason that that's this not on my list proper, is because it just kind of got to the point where it was like you realize that in a lot of games you kind of want that build up, so it's worth it when you get it in the end. And this game just sort of like didn't have that, to the point now where they've totally changed it. The Australian version now reflects the overseas version a lot more. Anyway, is it a good game? Can I recommend it? Probably not. It's fine. It's a nice little time waster where you like flick things, you know, like pull back and then bounce around. It's really fun. It's a great mobile phone game because you could just like ping it around. And I really enjoyed that. They had like daily quest things you get in there and do it once a day. And I really dug it. For like a fucking hot month, and but yeah, petered out super hard. And I can't say it's kind of, in the end, I'm like, I wouldn't say you should totally play that. So that's why it's an honourable mention, not a realistic. Okay. Next one down here is Splatoon. I really like. I like it. I'm a Nintendo. Like weirdly enough, like I don't know, it just sort of snuck up on me that I'm a Nintendo fan, and I really like what they did with Splatoon. Splatoon was a bold move. Like in the world of shooters, they sort of did their own thing, and they did a shooter that I enjoy playing, and I don't like shooters. Like I got nothing against them; they're perfectly fine. They just never grab me. Like I always try. I just don't care, and I just find military kind of stuff like, show me a gun in real life, and I'll probably be like impressed at it, like looking at it. It's a cool thing, but the shooters just don't do much for me. And Splatoon is a shooter. It's more like it's essentially a shooter, but they took the shooting away and made it about like controlling the land, the amount of space that you actually took up, and totally grabbed me, and I was playing it daily for a couple of weeks. But again, same thing, sort of petered out on it, so it's not necessarily a top 10 for me. But I think it, as a game and as a thing for Nintendo to do, I think it's really cool, and I really think that they need a lot of kudos for, they get a lot of shit for doing the same stuff over and over again. And Splatoon was a totally left field attack on a really solid genre. Well, they could have just made that game could have been fucking Mario squirty paint party, and it would have done just fine. Probably may have been done better. I don't know. But it was bold, and I think it's indicative of what Nintendo are doing at the moment. They're trying shit. They're really trying weird and new stuff, and I like that. I like when Nintendo gets weird. So Splatoon is definitely in there for me. But yeah, because I haven't actually stuck with it, I feel like putting it on my list, even though I might have, played it for 20 hours or something like that, I just don't feel like it is that, a number, which is, it's stupid. It's dumb. But that's my problem, not yours. Another honourable mention here, a game that I've had an enormous amount of fun with, because of it's a blend of a physical game, as in like kind of board game-ish, and a video game, and that's Don't Stop Talking and Nobody Explodes. I played that this year at PAX with a group of guys, and I've played it at people, like just one or two people sitting around. I played it at parties. It is so much fun. I love watching people start to get stressed because this bomb is going to explode. It's a bomb defusal game that has a real binder, and that binder is so important to the experience. She actually looked down as soon as the people like flicking through, go, oh yeah, I get it, cut wires, cool, yeah, timers, I get it. And then they see this Venn diagram, and they just go pale, like what the fuck? And you're just seeing people's brains just completely lock up. And it's a really, really, I just think it's an awesome, unique experience too. I would love to try it with an Oculus Rift. I think that that's a cool way to play it, but I don't think it's necessary. Like, I would love to see an iOS version of it too. I feel like it's perfect for the mobile thing, and that was a fantastic experience. Like, I think that game is really great. Pause. And unpause. So this is a dumb one. This is a really stupid personal thing though. This is not a game that came out this year. There's 2 games that didn't come out this year. But my daughter, she just started playing Animal Crossing for the first time. She's 4, and watching her play that, it's like one of those like touchy-feely. There's like noticing him getting older. I've got kids. He just ruins you. You're like, you can be a tough guy. You can't be a tough guy if you've got a little kid. Like, he just ruins you. So watching this kid play Animal Crossing is the best. It's the best. It's not me playing a game, but being able to give advice, like hearing her is like, what do I do with this thing? And you're like, just go to the guy, talk to the owl. And he's like, owl, which owl? The one at the museum. Oh, the owl, okay. He's asleep. Just wake him up. It's brilliant. It's the best. It's the best. So that's not a video game I've been playing, but because I've been so deep in Animal Crossing for so long, seeing somebody else play it, and through the lens of a little kid, it's perfect. So that's not a game I've been playing, but it's an honorable mention of one of my favourite video gaming things this year. Watching her play Journey too was really, really special moment too. But again, I'm avoiding getting super lame ass mushy for this. The next one is not a video game that came out this year, but it'll loop back around to another one that I played this year, and that's Dark Souls. Now, that game definitely didn't come out this year. I've got a history with it. I'm writing a piece for the site about it, so that'll be up at some stage. I'd love to do video stuff on this, but there's some people that cover Dark Souls on the internet. There's a little bit of that around. So I'm kind of really, I can't believe how into that I've got. And again, like I said, that'll loop back around. But I was trying to go through the games that I played this year that I actually sunk some serious commitment time into. And Dark Souls, that ate up 80 hours of my video game playing time. And being a busy person, that's a lot of my fucking time. That ate up a good chunk of time. So having that experience this year and being just like, oh my God, I get it. I fucking get it. I get why people like lose your shit over it. And it stuck so hard. Like, it's got to this point where I'm still consuming media about it. Like I'm watching people play through it, and I'm sort of like watching lore stuff. It's a whole thing. It's but that again, that will loop around to something you may guess what is later on, which is my top 5 proper. Now, Adam didn't... Oh. It's an alarm of some kind. I don't know what that's for. It's just an alarm that goes off at 12 o'clock every night. I don't know why I said it, but here we are. So I'm glad that Adam did a bit of live deliberation, because my fucking dog wants to go out. 1 second. So I'm glad Adam did a bit of live deliberation, because I'm going to do the same. But because, it's the top 5, I feel like I've basically got the order, but 1 and 2 are real tough. So when I wrote this one down, the first one, this would be number 5, I feel like this is a weird one. I've got a little bit of history with it. Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket Powered Battle Cars was a game that I played back on the PS3, and really liked, and didn't know why. I was embarrassed. We'd had a whole thing about it on the podcast. It turned into a song. The song ended up in Adam, co-founder of the site and podcast. He made a song with Omo, and it was amazing. Ended up in the game. That's happened again with Rocket League. So Rocket League was a funny one. I actually wrote it down. It was in my honourable mentions, and I wrote it down. I'm like, is there another game that I can think of that I had a better time, more consistent, better time with than online playing with other people than Rocket League? and I don't know that there's one. Like, it was so consistently fun. It was pretty much like one of those things where it was weeks and weeks where you're just like, oh, well, what are we going to do? Rocket League. And it was just on. And it's always a really, really good time. So that's like, it's a pretty easy number 5 for me. Like, I think it's really amazing, like, what they've done. It's sort of like, because I played the old one, I sort of feel like fuck yeah, like, people got to see what was good. And that's not saying that's exactly the same as the other one. This new one is considerably better. Like, it's a way better game, in structure. Like, the way that the other one was pretty clunky to play, and this for sure, refines it a lot more. So I think, that's a pretty easy one. I don't really have that much to say about it, except for the fact that it was fun then, it's fun now. I could play it right now. I'm not going to, but I'm not very good at it either. Nor am I, like, desperate to jump and have a quick get into it. Gotta get another game. Gotta get my rank up. Whatever. Like, I don't care. I just know how fun that game is, and so I feel like it's a significant thing. I'm incredibly proud as well. Again, the compatriot has a song in the game again. I think that's super cool. If you haven't heard it, then you got to finish season mode. It's there. It's really good. Number 4. Number 4 is Super Mario Maker. Super Mario Maker is another one where it's not necessarily the amount of time, but how much of an amazing thing I think it is. Like, playing that, when I first got it, I was like, holy shit, this thing is special. And it's like somebody got, like, all these nostalgic memories, and they just made it the best possible package. Not necessarily just like play to your nostalgia or resell you nostalgia. They actually took what was good about it and dissected it, and then said, here, you play with it, make something interesting. And not only did that, they actually made it so it was doable. Because I love Little Big Planet, but I got lost in fucking around. And this thing is so easy to just start making stuff. And because you've got such a restricted tool palette, you end up just thinking, well, maybe I should strip this back to basics and just make interesting things. I've published 1 level. I've played a ton of other people's levels, but I can't deny how much fun I've had with it, and showing other people and seeing that moment where they're just like, holy shit. Like, seeing seeing massive Nintendo fans, or people who just knew it, and just being able to see all the fun little quirkiness. And it's got so much Nintendo quirk, like the most Nintendo quirk. And, like, the big fucking dumb JPEG hand is the best. That's the best new character of 2015, is giant JPEG hand. It's my favourite thing. Cat paw's fine, but the fact is, rad giant manicured hand just comes out of nowhere and it's up on the screen the whole time is my favourite. I fucking love it. Still recording. See, we're fucking killing this. Number 3 is Metal Gear Solid 5. I think Metal Gear Solid 5 could be one of the best open world games of all time. I had a feeling at the time when I was playing it that I was like, man, is this going to fuck up Just Cause for me? Because this is so goddamn good. And even at the time, I'm like, nah, look at all that crazy shit exploding. That game's going to be so sick. I played that game for about 4 hours. It's fine. It's just not what I want right now. And I also feel like I had so much fun running around as Snake, faulting shit, and, like, there's plenty of Metal Gear crazy in it. Like, I'm a massive Metal Gear Solid 2 fan, which I don't know that's the right one to like. I feel like all the people who I respect, who talk about Metal Gear Solid, in reverence, they like 3 or 1. and I like 2 the most. Like I played 2 so many times. It's ridiculous. But it didn't feel like that. It didn't feel like the same Metal Gear game, but it felt so incredibly good always. Like just going in and having fun with the combat, like getting into shit. Stealth is fun, combat is fun, like just cruising around is fun. The characters are weird, awesome, quirky, fucking there's so much crazy still there. But the actual to use that term, loop is great fun. Like it's just awesome. I loved filling my base with dudes. I loved Fultoning dumb shit out, like riding, like getting in, extracting people, hearing them go woohoo as they fly off in a Fulton. It's a joy to play, like always. So, though I don't know that it's the most Metal Gear of games. Now my dog wants to come inside. Come on, in. Come in. No scratching. So though I don't think it's the most Metal Gear game, like story-wise and even structure-wise, it's just so good to play. Like it feels so good. All of it, upgrading weapons, everything just feels great. So I feel like that's, if anything, it kind of is super long. Once you beat the game and then realize there's probably another like 20 hours worth of game in there, it's sort of this moment where you're like, fuck, and it's a little bit overwhelming. So, but still, easily, top 3. Okay, number 2 and 1. This is gonna kill me because I'm a fan. Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate is easily it's my forever game. Like I've played it for 160 hours, which actually bums me out. Like I wish it was longer, which is fucked. But it's one of those games where the more I play it, the more I love it. I continually find new things to like about it. I know it's not one of those games that is universally revered. It's weird and it's hard. It's impenetrable. It seems repetitive. It is repetitive. It's got a lot of clunk. It assumes an obscene amount of knowledge, but it's totally one of my favorite things to do. Like I played 3 so much. That's where I fell in love with it. So why is it number 2? Is it? I'm not sure. I'll talk this out a little bit. So, the other game that's vying for the top spot is Bloodborne. So, my history with the Souls games is pretty short, really. Like, I tried to play Dark Souls a bunch of times and could never get into it. I knew how much people really loved it, but I never got into it. And I tried Bloodborne, same thing sort of happened. And then it just fucking clicked. And then it was just on. And I just didn't stop. Like, I just plowed through Bloodborne, consumed it, and totally loved it. I didn't really give a fuck about anything other than the playing part, but the part of my brain that also loves Monster Hunter, the mechanics, just fell in love with it. Like the repetition of finding the exploring. I used to talk about it in phases. I'd have my exploration phase. We'd get into a new area. I'd look around. Then you go like, all right, well now I need to clean this area up. So I need to explore every single aspect of it. Find the boss. Then it was just like execution. I had to just throw myself against it until I beat it, and I just totally loved that. There's nothing like, for me, that is one thing, like beating a Souls boss is so, especially one that's been greeting you, that you've been throwing yourself against it again and again and again, and you can't beat it, and then finally you do, and you just like, there's nothing like it. There is one thing like it. So that's sort of what's hard is Monster Hunter has a very similar vibe, except it doesn't have the surrounding stuff that Bloodborne does. There's no story. There's a flimsy story at best in Monster Hunter. So that's one of those things that I was like, I didn't think I cared about. I was a mechanic, so I was like, yeah, I love this for the same reasons. It was like challenging. It was all about mastery, which is the same as Monster Hunter. And you had to know your opponent and learn it and be consistent, and it's just, yeah, fantastic. I love that stuff about it. So I really fell in love, but I didn't really care about I didn't really care too much about the setting. But then I sort of like, as I came away from it, I had some time away from it, I started sort of appreciating it more, especially after diving into, directly after finishing Bloodborne, throwing myself straight into Dark Souls. So going backwards, losing all this refinement, going into a worse UI system, everything about us backwards, but then finding that I loved that one as much, possibly even more, was really like surprising. And the fact that it's just stuck still, like I was playing it about 20 minutes ago, trying to finish the final boss of the new DLC. This new DLC's really re-sparked my love of this game. Like, I don't know that they're all the best. It's not the best areas or anything in the game, but the fact that it's just like made me remember. And now I'm actually playing through again a new game plus, and walking around really slowly and just sort of soaking everything in, and just sort of going like, wow, there's the amount of depth and intricacy of the stuff, the layering and the levels, everything about it is just so woven, like it's so dense. You can really get lost in it, and I really love that about it. And that's really similar to Souls as well. And the interesting stuff, the story stuff, is there if you want to look for it. But even looking for it, you're not necessarily going to guarantee it. So then you have to look another layer again. All of a sudden, you're watching somebody's making these amazing videos about the story, and you're like, well, this is another person's take on this. There's more depth. So it's definitely got that above it. But I mean, I find Monster Hunter endlessly fun, and there's very few times that I've just got to this point where I've got nothing left to do. There's nothing more depressing in a Souls game. You know what? I keep saying Souls game. I don't fucking know. I've played Dark Souls and Bloodborne, and that's it. So I haven't finished Dark Souls 2. I didn't like it. And I've never played Demon Souls, so take that with a grain of salt. But there's nothing worse than just going, what have I got to do? One thing. I've got to beat this boss, and I can't. It fucking sucks, and it's depressing. Like, I physically, like, I feel there's something about these games that actually brings out a bad part of my personality, which is this, like, I'm tying my own happiness, so to speak, on the success, and I actually find like certain things will actually weigh on me. Like, I need to have this done, and that's really unique. Whereas Monster Hunter doesn't have that. I never feel bummed out, and it encourages. It's a fun time to jump online and bring. Whereas Bloodborne, I don't know. I feel like I'm cheating if I'm playing with somebody else. You know, like it sucks some of that fun out of it for me. I like being the lone maverick in it, and Monster Hunter is just a fun fucking time. But I think because of what it has sort of stirred up in me, as in like I really love this game series now, and I'm very excited to play the third Dark Souls 3. I'm very excited for that. I'm very excited to play another Monster Hunter game, obviously, but I think I've got this really deep appreciation of now how those games are crafted, and I think because of the breadth of impact it's had on me this year, I kind of think I have to put that at number one. So there we have. That's decision made. I'm gonna go and burn this t-shirt, and cheese grater off the tattoo. It's not true, I don't have a tattoo. Yeah. So, top 5 again. As I say it out loud, it made it feel real bad. The fact I feel guilty is probably not a good thing. Again. So yeah, number 1, Bloodborne. Number 2, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Number 3, Metal Gear Solid V. Number 4, Mario Maker. And number 5, Rocket League. Thanks for watching. And yeah, keep up with our things. We're going to do more. It's going to be a really good year. 2016. Fuck you, 2015. Catch you later, dickhead. 2016 is going to be real good. Alright, see ya.